everyone. As you can see, I'm here with
Erica. I'm Erica. Hi, everyone.
A lot of you may know that I was planning to do a spring cleaning series. Well, let's just say my spring cleaning plans have changed and my series will not be continuing in the way that I had planned. I still have a couple videos that I'm planning to do around the spring cleaning, like showing how my office has changed. You can kind of see a little sneak peek behind us. But mostly it's changed because of COVID-19 and because Erica has done all my spring cleaning for me.
I have.
But that's for another time. We're not going to go deep into that because we could go real deep into how Erica has cleaned my entire place.
Everything.
Yeah.
Not a corner left undone.
Yeah, so that is for a future video. But for today, we thought that we would talk about what self-quarantine has been like in the age of COVID-19. And we actually have questions as our guide, and then we're adding in some of our own.
We are in New York City. We're on day 11 of quarantine. I've been keeping a journal, so I know that. We're at Ingrid's. We live apart, but we decided 12 days ago to do this together and to be together throughout it. Which was a great decision because it would have been so hard alone. And some of you out there might be alone, so I know that's extremely difficult. But anyways, we're here, and my little sister, she's not so little anymore, but she's my little sister always. She's a teacher, and so she was in a Facebook group with a bunch of teachers around the world who are sharing lesson plans with each other to help parents and to help homeschool kids as they're not at school anymore. So she shared with us a list of questions that one teacher shared with everyone, and we thought they were so cool and interesting. And so we're not kids, but we want to answer some of them.
Yeah, I thought they were such great questions and really paint a picture for the current landscape. The whole point of these questions was to embrace the role of being a historian, because in a way we are all historians in this moment. And I loved the variety of questions, and it really got me thinking. And so I figured we would go through these together, and then we'll add in some of our own as well. Okay, I'm gonna keep peeking over to see in the mirror that I have set up to see if the camera is still recording. This is what this is.
You want me to look?
Yeah, can you, wait, no, you can see, like, if you just see the little red thing in the bottom right corner, that means, you see where my hand is on the screen?
Yeah.
See that red blob? Okay, I'll be the eyes on the recording then. By the way, we will put these questions in the description if you want to journal about them yourself or share them with kids or children or other adults in your life. Okay, so number one, what did the government announce / declare / implement today?
Well, this video is going up on Friday, but on Wednesday night, so last night, because today's Thursday, the Senate approved a $2 trillion economic stimulus package for the public, which is going to help people with more unemployment benefits. It's going to help send money to cities that are struggling with this. It's going to help, I think, in a variety of ways, help healthcare companies to meet the demand. So that was huge because all week the Senate Republicans and Democrats have been debating about what's going to be in this package, and they've finally come to an agreement. So $2 trillion announced late last night. I think 3 million Americans are unemployed right now.
Yeah, that's what the New York Times was reporting. Number two, what is open in your neighborhood? What is closed? So most things are definitely closed. Restaurants are closed, little shops are closed. There's some restaurants that are still open for takeout and delivery, but I would say it's a very small amount. Grocery stores are still open, convenience stores are open, but yeah, walking down the street, it's like everything is just has their doors shut.
A lot of people have left town, like those who have other places to go have left New York City, I've noticed. You noticed it the other night outside. There were a lot of like dark homes. The parks are still open in New York City, which is amazing. It's also a place where, I mean, a lot of people are going. Like, a lot of people are still walking their dogs or going on jogs, which might be nice. It gives normalcy. And you said the convenience stores. The bodegas are still open on corners because that's where a lot of people get their food and supplies. And so, I mean, the bodega workers, like, they're just such in like the line of fire, you know, on this. All the people who are still working. And New York City, New York State is on a pause, which means the whole economy is slowing down. Only essential workers are working. Essential workers, as defined by the government, include like public utility workers, some construction folks, public transportation, healthcare workers, grocery store workers. I think the mail is still being delivered.
Yeah, mail.
And news media. People who work in journalism are still working. Well, we're doing podcasts, but I'm working a lot right now.
Yeah.
So, and I just feel like for all these people who are still working, like, you know, it's who still have to be out. Like, we're still working, but we are trying to quarantine. So I have a lot of like feelings. Yeah. For the people who are still working.
It does feel really somber going outside. You know, the parks are open and those are such beautiful spaces, but there still is just this air of heaviness and it feels really somber. And, you know, normally when you go into the park, you see like groups of people and there's a lot of people. And I took Tato out a couple days ago on a walk and it was like, there was no one around me. Like, I could see maybe a few people on the grass with their dogs, but everybody was out on their own, maybe with a dog or running on their own. And so it just feels vastly different from everyday New York City life that we had been accustomed to previously.
Which is good that people are adhering to the rules of staying inside, but it's sad. It's sad. It's like, you know, today, Thursday is supposed to be opening day for Major League Baseball, and I was on Twitter and there was this tweet that you clicked on it and you could watch old games of, you know, opening days across the country, and I heard like the sound of spring and like the chatter of the crowd and like, you know, commentators, and I was like, oh my God, like our world is truly on pause, and it's so heavy to think about that. Those experiences of joy, whether it's playing sports in the park or going to a sporting game, and obviously I'm a sports fan, as I give all sports examples. Whatever, fill in the blank for whatever it is for you. But I'm really sad. Like, I got really sad about the baseball thing. It's just like, you know.
Well, as we saw in the English game, which we have watched on Netflix, sports brings people together. It's a huge community activity.
It does. It gives people a release and joy, and I think that's what's so hard right now is, you know, people are doing cool things on Instagram. There's all these like, you know, DJ nights and these like dance parties that are happening, and that's a bright spot, but it's, you know, nothing's the same.
Number 3, what does your neighborhood look like? Are people walking around? I think we kind of answered that in number 2.
Sparse.
Yeah, I will say, though, that we are in the middle of the beginning of spring, and so there are daffodils coming up everywhere, and the trees are just starting to blossom or have, like, little buds on them. And so it's really interesting being in this moment that feels so somber, and then nature is coming alive. And so it's this really interesting contrast of empty streets, empty sidewalks, and then these bursts of color and life.
Yeah. That's beautiful, Ingrid. It's true. But today it's really sunny. Yesterday it was like raining, you know, the old like
Yesterday both of us were just in a hole.
Yeah, this week has been hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it's gloomy outside, it just makes it that much heavier. How is today different from yesterday for you, your family, our nation, the world? Maybe let's answer for like ourselves and maybe our families.
Well, my sister is doing a quarantine, so she's one day, she just got back to the United States and she's alone quarantining right now, so she's one more day into it. we've been talking to her every night, multiple times a day, because I think being alone is going to be really hard. I think for me, like, I had kind of an emotional conversation with my dad last night. Like, I think people are starting to really feel the effects of the quarantine and of the seriousness of this. So we've started to have more like somber conversations, which has been hard. And yeah, we're all worried about each other. So there's just been like this upbeat, like, we're in this together, we can do this. At first, my family had a group chat, and like people are still sharing like happy photos, but like, you know, there's definitely a lot more side conversations happening.
I think for me, one thing that is different from yesterday is that I feel slightly better in terms of my emotional state. So for the last handful of days, I have just felt really down, and it's been really rough, and I cried in my closet, and
it's our phone booth.
Yeah, my closet is now our phone booth.
So our podcast recording studio.
Yeah, so we go in there when we just need like a quiet space. It's also good for crying. So yeah, it's just been really rough, and I talked about this on our recent episode of One Step Podcast, where Christina and I are talking to each other. I made an Instagram post about this, but I have just felt a lot of pressure to be like externally positive, whether it's like on the internet or just in my life. And I got to this point where I was like, I feel internally wrecked. Like, I just feel like a mess on the inside, and I want to allow my external world to reflect that for a minute. And that means crying or being really angry or frustrated or talking to friends and just being like, I don't feel great, and having them say back to me, I don't feel great either. Having a bunch of makeup on the floor and not immediately cleaning it up, just like, you know, letting my external landscape match the internal, just even for a moment, I think has really helped me. And so today I feel like I've taken a step forward. I don't feel like fully through all of the feelings yet, but it feels like something. And also in terms of changes with my family, so my mom had started self-quarantining early because she's in a high-risk group for multiple reasons. And one thing that is on the lighter side in terms of family changes is that my mom now has less hair than she did yesterday, because she sent both Erica and I just a picture of her hair, like that had been cut off, because she had been saying for the last few days, I really need a haircut, I really need a haircut, and apparently
so resourceful,
she gave herself a haircut. So
no one's touching this.
I wonder what she looks like, because she only sent a photo of the hair that
she sent a photo of her face too. You missed it?
Oh, I didn't see that one. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to go look at that.
Yeah. It was a selfie.
Okay. Well,
okay.
I have stuff to catch up on. Number 5, do you see any examples of racism, privilege, and income inequality in any of the events that happened today? Locally, at the state level, nationally, or the world?
I mean, this week, the racism and the anti-Asian racism, xenophobia that's happening, which you started noticing right away.
Yeah. I started seeing this really early, way before people started self-quarantining. It was really as the news started focusing a little bit more on COVID-19 before there was a presence here in the United States, and just noticing things like people avoiding Chinatown here in New York City, and the Small Business Bureau chief here in New York was reporting that business in Chinatown was down 40%. And there was a moment where I was on the subway and I saw a really blatant moment of racism come out, and it was from a young person on the subway. And I was just, it was one of those moments where I was like, am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing right now? Like, this is just so blatantly racist. And I walked away from that moment like, yeah, I did just see what I think I saw. And the more that I've talked to my friends about this, my friend Michelle, she's also mixed race, and we've talked about how that has always been complicated our entire lives, how it makes this painful for us and complex, and I'm not fully through those feelings either. I've talked to other friends about things that they've seen or experienced. People have just told me things like walking down the street and someone calling them coronavirus, and it's just so present. And I'm just really appalled and horrified at how long it has taken to start having these conversations more broadly. Like, there have been
at least 2 weeks for mainstream media to really pick up on it.
There have been really subtle things happening in the media that I have caught, and then there have been like the blatant things that I've just seen or heard, like with my own eyes and ears.
And obviously, like, the president, up until a few days or a week ago, was calling this the Chinese virus. And yeah, like, what more is there to say? Like, and, came out a few days ago and tweeted that he supports Asian Americans, and that it's not their fault. It's kind of a stark and dark contrast to what he had been saying before. So there's a trickle down, to his creating like a ability for people to express that like inner darkness towards other people, when we know that it's not anyone in the Asian American community's fault, and it's blatantly xenophobic and racist to assume or catcall someone coronavirus. So that's been really...
Yeah, and
you've been sharing it with me, and it's
been really hard. I've been so angry about it, and we live in New York City, and New York City like prides itself on being, really diverse, and this is everywhere, and it's so insidious because it can live in really subtle forms, and people will just choose to brush it off. And
like deciding not to go to Chinatown, like to eat, and you went to Chinatown and had noodles, I think, right after that, and brought some friends.
The thing I am most frightened about with this is the long-term effect, because it's horrible now in this moment, but what is the long-term effect of this going to be? Because it's not like it's just gonna disappear. I feel like there's going to be long-term repercussions, and that feels really scary. Did you see anything today that gave you hope, anxiety, fear? It could be in person, in the news, or on social media.
Well, what gave me hope today was that, Ingrid, you were coughing last night. A little bit. You were coughing, and like we were both just kind of worried, because some of you might be able to relate. Like, anytime we're showing any symptom that could potentially be coronavirus, it's scary. And so we were both like, I was feeling like nervous and scared, and you were, I think, worried. And we both got the best night's sleep we could. And you woke up this morning and you were chipper, and you smiled, and sang a little tune, and I was like, okay, Ingrid's not down. She's not down. And then I was like, I'll make breakfast though. So we had a little, that gave me a little bit of hope, because the reality is, it's like one of us could get sick, or both of us could get sick, and we need to have like a plan in place for when that happens, or if it happens. And we also need to like, I sent Ingrid an article by One Medical, which is where my doctor is, and they were giving you advice about like how to understand your symptoms and what to do if you think you have coronavirus. And the number one thing they said was like, don't panic, like don't go into fear. Like, it's allergy season, it's already cold and flu season, it could be something like that. Don't go to the worst case scenario right away, which is definitely where my mind goes. And so I'm just grateful that we are both healthy today, and and that we have each other.
I found that chart to be extremely helpful. They lay out like allergy symptoms, cold symptoms, flu symptoms, and then COVID-19 symptoms, and it's all laid out on a chart, and you can kind of like cross-reference. And so that helped me kind of sink into reality more. And so you know, I feel like, I keep saying this to Erica, I feel like I am truly just living one day at a time.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't even have the capacity to think about tomorrow. Like, I can only think about getting through today. But ultimately, that gets me through the day and into the next day. Okay, a moment of hope for me was receiving a text message from the one and only Eileen Grennan. And she had texted me a photo of this candle that I gave her years ago for her birthday. It's the Byredo Bibliothèque candle, and she has never burned it, and she sent me a photo that she was burning it. And it just made me so happy to see her enjoying something that not only I had given her, but she had been saving for so long. And it just filled me with this sense of hope that, you know, even in the midst of something really difficult, we can have those small moments of joy. And I keep going back to that. Like, on One Step podcast, I talked to Eva Hagberg this week, and she is one of my friends. We're in a book club together, but
I'm in it too.
Yeah, she's in it too. Eva is amazing. She's written a book called How to Be Loved, and she is also many other things, but she has a lot of experience, you know, being physically alone for long periods of time, living with uncertainty. And something that really stuck with me that she said is that we can be in a really difficult time, and it can be okay to seek moments of joy and experience them as well. And so we can acknowledge the painful, and we can acknowledge the beautiful as well. And so seeing Eileen enjoying that candle made me feel a sense of hope and joy and happiness, even in just like the smallest way. And I think those are the things that have really helped to balance out those difficult feelings. And these small pieces of joy just come so naturally. Like, I'm not reaching or stretching for them. They arrive and I invite them in, just as I've been inviting the uncomfortable things in, which has been exhausting. So it's nice to have something nice come up every now and then too. Look, there it is. There's the picture of the candle.
Eileen.
I know.
That's the best.
Okay.
Eileen, love it when I get to hear about your text messages.
Okay, because Erica will just see me sometimes like in the corner like chuckling, and it's most likely me reading a message or something from Eileen. So, okay, number 7, what does your family need today that you might not have enough of, or have no access to acquire?
And then the next one, what do
you and your family have that others may need?
I can't think of anything that I don't have right now. I think we're really fortunate. We have food, we have a thermometer, we have Tylenol, which is impossible to get right now in New York City. We have each other. We have Tato.
Tato.
Gotta give him a bath. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Look, he's not in here because he knows.
Tato.
He knows
Tato.
he's gonna get a bath.
And then, yeah, so I feel like my family, I mean, other than each other, like my sister's alone, like that's not me, that's her, but I feel like that would be, there he is. Hey, Tay. Hi. He's scraggly too. Anyone know how to cut dog hair? Let me know.
I am not even gonna try because he is just so beautiful that
you don't want to mess it up?
No, I will bathe him, but definitely not getting in there with any.
Hi, Tay. Still got this flashlight on. That's from his grandma.
He's pretty stinky right now.
It's happening. Okay, so you.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we have, what we need and so much more. And so I think I've been thinking about more, what do we have that others may need? And the number one thing that comes to mind for me is money. And so yesterday I spent time and really sat down and went through just places that I regularly love going to, and then looking into other places as well, and just doing research around where I want to be giving money. And so now I have a list of places that I'm going to be giving money to, and some of these are neighborhood places, and then some are in Manhattan, and I really am wanting to have like a small varied pool of things that are important to me, having something that's queer related, having something that is local, having something that is owned and run by a woman.
Places that are really struggling, we don't want to go out of business when this comes back, when the economy comes back, or when we get to start opening our doors. I know a lot of people are struggling. I didn't know you put that list together. Now I'm like, isn't Ingrid the best? Like, I need to go do my list now. That's what that made me think. I'm like, good God.
And I felt like I also got to know these businesses that I have frequented and really enjoyed for a while, and I feel like I got to know them a little bit more.
Yeah,
so that felt special.
Cool. I mean, we're definitely going to come out of this, I think, with a stronger sense of community, like in our neighborhood. And I think it's going to be a minute, but I'm excited when we emerge and get to reconnect with store owners and everyone and talk about, what it was like, and just know with a kind of a looking sense at each other that we've made it through this. So we'll get there.
Should we talk about TV shows we've been liking?
Well, we watched The English Game.
Yes.
Which I love. I love historical dramas.
And it was sports.
So I liked it a lot. We also watched, Tiger King.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We watched almost 3 episodes
episodes
last night. Like, we couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's fascinating. And then other stuff we've been doing, I've been keeping a list, because I love lists, of all the house chores I've been doing, because I love it. Ingrid hates it. And by the way, I don't live here full time, so I am like, it's Ingrid's place, so I'm not like, well, I have like tried to do stuff, and Ingrid's like, no, back away. But now that I'm here, Ingrid has let her guard down, and I have successfully fixed some spots on the walls that need to be repainted. I've organized the pantry. I've organized under the sink.
You've rearranged the bedroom furniture.
I've rearranged the bedroom furniture. I've helped her get the office together.
But wait, how did we decide to quarantine together?
You looked at me like kind of sad, and I was like, I think it was like, I was like, I should probably go home and get some stuff so I can stay here for longer, right? And you were like, yeah, I think so.
I literally don't remember this, but I remember, I don't remember like what the exact moment was like, but I remember it was a really fast decision.
It was like the Friday I was staying here, and then come Sunday I was like, I think I should probably stay here, right? Like throughout this. And you were like, yeah. And it was just like easy, and it made sense. And I went home and got my stuff, and I felt really sad when I went home, kind of looking at my place and not knowing then that my sister was going to come and use it for her quarantine, which makes me happy that she has had a place to land, but just feeling sad about like, it's not about not being at my place, but it's about what my place represented, which was kind of a pre-coronavirus world, and simpler moments. So, but I went and I got my stuff, and I came here, and we've been making the most of it.
Yeah, we did yoga together yesterday.
I did child's pose for a large majority of it.
I'd look over and Erica would just be sitting there or in child's pose watching me, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I did. Well, I'm doing the best I could, internet. It was like, I haven't worked out.
You showed up for it.
Yeah, I did. I showed up to the mat. I did say it was like a 52-minute class, and I was like, can we stop at 30 minutes? And Ingrid was like, no.
With that face too, I did give you that.
Yeah, you were pretty serious. Yeah, typical. So anyways, I made it.
Oh, that made me remember one more moment of hope. I recently did crow for the first time, like the full expression of crow for the first time ever, which I never thought I would be able to do, and it unexpectedly happened when I was doing a live class, and the teacher prompted to go into crow, and I was like, oh, I can't do this, but I'll just try it anyway. And I was like, oh my god, I'm doing it.
You're really strong. You're much stronger than you give yourself credit for, and you practice yoga a lot, so. Me, on the other hand, child's pose, and I'm fine with it, people. I'm fine with it.
Child's pose, crow.
Yin and yang. All right, I gotta go back to work.
Okay.
All right, thanks for having me at your work.
Yeah, thanks for being here, and thank you to everyone out there who is watching. We'll have the questions down below. We're sending you lots of love wherever you are.
Yeah, let us know how you're doing. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.